There aren't that many people I really look up to in this world. But Jim Harrison, I want to be him when I grow up.
I've never felt particularly ambitious. I'm just a writer, so I have to write. It's a calling. It's sort of a religious thing, you know?
Of course, I'd have to write brilliant, timeless poems and novels and screenplays that have known and hung out with like Orson Welles and Jack Nicholson and Fellini and all. And oh yeah, been like really talented and brilliant, meaning it's too late for me.
If I knew I was going to die imminently, I would go to Lyon. You know, you can have the simple luncheon dish, Saint Cochon, which is like a little 7-pound pig cooked 5 different ways.
Mm-hmm. But what would the last meal be, though? I mean,
I don't know. I never have been big on the last meals. I want lots of last meals.
But I do get to bask in his reflected glory now and then. And tonight, he's making dinner for me and a few pals. I get to be his prep bitch for a feast of local wild game. An elk and antelope carbonade, which has to get on the stove first.
Sort of a generic Belgian dish. They make it out of beef. We do it a lot out of excess game. And then the onions brown with the garlic.
Carbonade, you need beer and Jim's secret weapon.
Taste this antelope stock. Grab a spoon.
oh, that's good.
Depth of flavor. What do you think?
Can't lose with the stock.
While the carbonade simmers, I'm reminded that like many of his characters, Jim's never been a guy to shy away from getting his hands dirty.
Just pretend you're sort of rubbing your girlfriend, as it were. That's a little indelicate, but...
Sort of a hairy girlfriend, right?
Also on the menu, wild dove. I think Dan bagged these earlier in the day.
You know my motto, don't you? Comes from Lermontov, the Russian writer.
Yep.
Eat or die.
Where did he say that?
He did. I made it up.
No way.
You have authority in your quotes if you ascribe it to someone else. These little birds gave their lives for us, that we may live to and eat again.
You died in a noble cause.
Yeah.
The little delicious ones.
And sit down to dinner and some wine and let the madness begin.
Okay, everybody sit down.
Boy, that's really good.
Danny, these are perfect.
Yep. They're beautiful. We did good. I'm taking credit, partial credit for this already. That looks good. That smells good.
How's that for gravy?
Yeah, that's working with those potatoes really nicely, huh?
I can't shake the feeling that round here is good country for old men. A place I'm not going to live out my life, but maybe had things been different, could have, and maybe should have.
Jim, thank you.
A delight after we met.
Cheers.
A place where some must follow the heart's affection, as to do otherwise would be unthinkable, while others can pursue with uncommon vigor the truth of the imagination, where people can hear their own inner voices with great clearness and live by what they hear. When you've got a big family in a place where everybody knows everybody's people, everywhere you go has a history. Here at Rocas in the mountains, not too far from Nuoro, Ottavia's dad Angelo used to play as a kid. Rocas, an agro-tourismo built cave-like back into the rocks. What is an agro-tourismo? I think it's like the greatest institution ever. Basically a funky little place in either a home, a farmhouse.
Sure feel like a drink.
They appear all over Italy and Sardinia, where the small, usually set menu is explicitly local. It's fantastic. You can easily eat your way from town to town all across the country, scarfing up local specialties. This one is a family favorite, meaning Andreana likes it. No small accomplishment, I can tell you. And Ottavia's parents, Angelo and Mauro, were happy to trade babysitting duties for a meal here.
Well, I have many obsessions in this part of the world, but I'm really into this agro-tourismo thing. What does it mean?
They live on what they produce.
So they're making the wine, clearly.
Fanno il vino.
The vegetables are many or most of them. The main course, the goat, I'm guessing, from around here.
It's like the typical Sardinian sausage. This is the cartilage of the pig in gelatin.
That sounds good.
I love fatty, cured meat.
The Catalans, what is now Spain, occupied Sardinia for some time, and their influence appears in some of the food, most notably and to best effect in the Sardinian ham. Strikingly different from, and so much better than, Italian prosciutto.
Around here they cut the prosciutto a little bit thicker.
See, it's good to be invaded by people. It's good for food.
I know, it is good for food.
You don't want to be around when it happens, but living in a place that has been invaded a lot, it's sort of like, you've seen this show. You know, I'm always going on about this.
Yes, I know.
This must be terribly boring for you.
Do you want to talk about this now?
Pasta, of course, here, macarrones de buzza served with a simple tomato sauce.
Oh, nice. That's good.
Buonissimo. Sì, è vero, eh? At the table, if there is good food, everybody agrees. You know, there is no fighting.
And this roast meat specialty with a difference. Capretto arrosto stidial, which I'm gathering means baby goat spit roasted over the open fire, but here it's basted with the drippings of flaming lardo, chunks of lightly cured, seasoned, and herbed pork fat. Look at that. That glorious melting pork fat gives the goat a dark golden color and a crispness and intense flavor unlike anything else.
Delicious. So good. Sorry, I'm having too much.
Wow. Whoa.
Nice little ribs.
The ribs.
Oh, nice.
That's a nice touch.
Last, but by no means least, roasted cheese with local honey.
Ooh, that's good.
Is it? Okay, good.
Time. Venice's seeming timelessness. The assumption that, well, she's been here, she surely always will be, is a central irony. Tourists and short-time visitors can never fully grab Venice. Staying is difficult and increasingly pricey. Costs rise, the number of natives shrinks, the buildings themselves slowly crumble. A living museum of millennium-old masterworks, inexorably dying. Artists and poets from elsewhere have always been transfixed by her noble rot.
We must remember looking out of the window is probably the biggest waste of time in life. But what else can one do if one has to do nothing with it whatsoever?
Following in the footsteps of fellow Englishmen besotted with Venice like Lord Byron, artist Geoffrey Humphries came to Venice 40 years ago, coming, for instance, for what one sees from his window.
I found myself in a different dimension and couldn't get out of it. There was an artistic community here and a feeling. Maybe I was going back in time, but I wanted to always go back in time. Don't we all?
All that and the natural light makes painting, like the city itself, a slowly passing thing. Geoffrey lives on the Giudecca, the large island saddling Venice proper.
Nobody would touch the Giudecca. It was Isola di Miseria.
Once a kind of low-rent refuge for the broke and bohemian classes. Now, as with so many other formerly industrial districts, all the tits. Posh hotels, the scourge of hipness spreading like chlamydia. Geoffrey, unsurprisingly, is not too happy about the change. Geoffrey leads me back in time to a favorite restaurant of his younger, hungrier days.
Atmosphere was so rickety, it was wonderful. A meal would cost 1,000 lire.
Geoffrey's Venice can never be the same as the Venice of those born to it. He knows it. Yet he's part of a grand tradition, a world of misfits for whom Venice is a stage. And that too has nostalgia, rites of passage, and special entree for certain professions. Locanda Montin, an old, very old school trattoria. Simple classics made well. A place about which Venetians and particularly longtime expats tend to be sentimental. Very likely because of their one-time view that art was acceptable as legal tender.
The world was very different. There were no credit cards, but there was credit. In a funny way, my bill got so heavy, so he picked up my paintings from an exhibition, and I told him to select one for himself to cover my bill. When I got back, I said, "Where's the picture?" And he said he'd sold it. And I said, "How much for it?" He said, "Eat." This is a mantis shrimp. I'm afraid you have to eat this by hand. Bon appetito. Oh boy, they've gone overboard.
Pasta in red sauce.
Very happy with this. So what did you call this?
L'escapara. Just blasted tomato, garlic, and parsley.
As we settle into our meal, I asked Geoffrey what he remembers most about coming to Venice as a young artist.
When I came here, everybody, even the vegetable salesman or whatever, they all know art. It's their life. Michelangelo, the big names, and
Well, you kind of can't help it. You know, you walk down the street, you're
it's in their churches.
tripping over
and
stuff.
I learn a lot from the street. People look at my work and they say, I don't agree. And he says, you're just following the sun. You know, meaning I keep moving the shadow, which is right. You know, and I say, and then you're frightened of the void.
You just hear this from passers-by, from
I
Venetians.
picked up a lot of education from the street.
In a city where art is a birthright, everywhere you look, the street's a gallery and everybody an art critic, this artist has found a Venice of his own. I love this city. Middle of tourist season, you can still walk down the street and right back in time. Sit down in a little Romans-only fish restaurant or just walk by yourself through ancient streets. I'm meeting up with Marco, a local fishmonger and friend of Cesare's who's off on other business somewhere, and Sarah, our fixer, also a local, who knows this place, Il Timoniere, well.
Where am I? Where are we?
The food is excellent. So the mother is the owner, the daughter runs the place, and the cousin is in the kitchen. His name is Marco. This lady is fantastic. I know her. She gets upset for anything. And so I changed the name of this place from Il Timoniere to the Angry Cousin.
The food looks good.
Actually, they have one of the best amatriciane in town, I guess. They're having the usual fight in the kitchen. They always go on Okay, now the angry cousin is definitely hungry.
This is not a good thing, right?
Move to London because it's not possible to eat here. You understand? It's not possible to eat here.
Non lo capisco perché non so di cosa sta parlando. Okay, that's Italy. Here we go. Somebody might think that this is all fake, but it's real. Scusami, noi stiamo lavorando. Vabbè, ma noi stiamo lavorando. Non è un coglione perché stiamo lavorando, è il nostro lavoro, è un'altra cosa.
Quando trovo persone come lei che sono le 11 e hanno fatto mangiare.
We're not waiting that long either. I've been following their progress.
Ma che mi frega che piano gente? Scusa,
Even the dog is upset now.
No, spiegagli che tutto questo fa parte della coreografia in suo onore,
sì.
perché le antiche osterie romane si usava tenere i coltelli sotto al tavolo. Con i coltelli si...
They were ready to cut each other.
I think the cheap were full anyway.
Mi sembra un pochino la pubblicità di quello... Vuoi risparmiare al ristorante? Metti un serpente a solalli alla minestra.
Now that the carnage is over, where were we?
Oh, there we go. Oh, yes. Oh, my God, it's too much.
Ooh, braised oxtail, my favorite. And some more of those great baby lamb chops. And I need some more wine. I'm a little freaked out by all that melodrama. Ah, better now.
You know, I thought Europe was a place that you take your time, you enjoy. What's their hurry?
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
She said that has never happened to her in 7 years.
You tell her I had her back. Because Baldy, I had my eye on Baldy. I didn't like his look. And if he got it up on her face anymore, it was bing, he's out. I thought they showed remarkable restraint. I'll tell you, you can't beat this. This is a great meal. I feel bad because now, like, you know, thousands of people that come here just to, like, do, you know, where's the fighting, right?
Yeah.
That's good.
When Ferran Adrià announced he was going to close El Bulli, it shook the world of gastronomy. But for him, inventing new dishes, serving them to an ever larger public, was not enough. He needed both a new challenge and a next step, beyond the confines of four walls and a restaurant business. So this would be my last meal at El Bulli.
This is the octopus Galician style, okay?
Yes.
The traditional one.
Hay que... Mira, 1, 2.
Right.
Hay que jugar con las proporciones.
1, 2, 3.
Little. Very, very little.
¿Cuánto? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Aceitito.
It's so beautiful. I can just watch that all day.
Like, sorry, baby octopus.
You know what was cool? The sound of Ferran next to me, making little noises of pleasure as he tasted his own food. That he was capable of both entertaining others with his work and being entertained himself by it.
I love that you're having so much fun at your own restaurant. It's so awesome.
For me, the sequence that came next, somewhere near the end of 52 courses, was the most amazing, the most brilliant, and yet strangely, the most traditional. A genius riff on traditional European game dishes.
I remember ninjayaki.
Ninoyaki. That's a typical Japanese fried dough. But these are not so simple. They're filled with a meticulously made pâté of wild hare, reduced stock, and foie gras.
Este es muy difícil de comer, ¿eh?
Very difficult to eat this.
Okay. Suck it like a soup dumpling.
The cappuccino is another reduction of wild hare stock spooned into the bottom of a cup. The cappuccino foam is actually chocolate air, made with 99% pure chocolate.
So this is a cappuccino of game flavor,
All right.
of game aromas.
Right. Then deeper.
The risotto of mulberries. One side of the spoon is an intensely flavored consommé of the wild hare. The other, actually, mulberry kernels and juice finished with a drop of eucalyptus oil and a dusting of green cardamom.
The traditional marmalade that they give you always with the game dishes, right?
Now that's progression.
The ravioli with its bolognese and blood. A delicate fillet of wild hare in the center of the dish is layered with Iberico ham and pork belly. On top of each ravioli, a ragu of carrot, celery, tomato puree, minced wild hare, pork belly, and veal bone marrow and stock. Intensely rich and intensely flavored. The blood is actually beet juice, concentrated with ginger, citronella, juniper, and thyme. As you eat each component, you're discovering all over again the elements commonly found in many, many classical game dishes. Berries, cocoa, but with the hare always as the main narrative. How Adria gets there, builds the same experience, is what sets him apart from everyone else.